Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the big moment we'd all been waiting for. It's the BTS America's Grand Final, and we have made it into game number 5. Best of 5 becomes a best of 1 now as Cloud9 go head-to-head against Team Imagine, now known once again as Leviathan. This is KotLGuy for Beyond the Summit. I'm going to be joined once again from Blaze. And I'm going to put apologies out there ahead of time, folks. It is a long, exhausting series, and we might say some things that make no sense. But we are trying to keep ourselves and our wits about us because this has been a hype series from start to finish, Blaze. And I'm really looking forward to see how they're going to round it out.
Yeah, very entertaining at the very least. This has been North American Dota at its finest. Just seeing all the back and forth, just seeing all the ways that teams get out of these sticky situations. It's been quite ridiculous. But we're going to see an interesting draft in hand. They ban out the Anti-Mage as if they want to open up with the Storm Spirit. But when the Jenkins Pudge gets banned out, Leviathan go ahead and grab that Lina, most likely for Shibby there. So they are not going to be going with their signature Storm opener. In fact, that's going to be picked up by Cloud9, who now not only have the Storm Spirit in terms of initiation, but the Silencer to follow it up. So 1437 feels like he was able to make a pretty good impact in that previous game. Probably going to be supporting on that hero once again. And now they've got the Ball Lightning initiation to make sure that every time they use a global, they're getting kills with it.
So we have to look to see what Leviathan want to do to respond. They still want to take advantage of some of the top priority picks that are still out there because of these, unusual bans. Every day see the ban of the Pudge and even an early TA ban as of recent. So he seems to be the new hot flavor. But that does leave a Tusk out there, so Imagine we'll pick that one up. I wager it to be the Jenkins offlane Tusk for now, but we'll have to see if they decide to delegate it to more of a 4 position. But now you see a team like Cloud9, they get to open up with this powerhouse duo where they get one of the best heroes in the game right now in your Storm Spirit and one of the best counters for said hero in the Silencer. What other options do you have out there? Is it let's put back emphasis into getting like a Disruptor and a Skywrath Mage or some sort of silence to help contain this Storm Spirit? But then again, you'll have to deal with this, the Silencer's global, which could render those kind of heroes pretty useless in every team fight. They're not going to be able to afford their own BKB or Yules to shrug it off. How can Leviathan respond to this 1-2 punch?
I would say getting something that isn't as spell reliant would be a pretty good way to start. You're up against a Silencer, play with that assumption. Get like a Viper. That's a great hero that can manage to be on his own without casting a single spell, and can still trade hits pretty effectively, tanky enough to deal with the Storm Spirit. Obviously not as mobile. You're not going to get everything this game. You have to kind of choose between 1 or 2 different things. But even still, I think that there's some real value in just getting something that isn't completely shut down by the spells. The other thing would be a quick initiation. We saw towards the tail end of the last game, the Storm Spirit went for the Orchid, which the purpose of that was to kill the Silencer before it gets its global, and that happened multiple times. If they can get something that initiates so hard on the Silencer, even if he's hiding in the back, that they can prevent the global or get it to be casted at an improper time, then that's going to be great. So I would say maybe something that goes for Shadow Blade and ganks up from the backline could be very impactful. No matter the case, they are going to be looking to establish themselves in shorter timing windows where this global silence is on cooldown. They want to actually be able to press the attack.
Just to remind everyone what is at stake for this particular match. First place will be walking away with $5,000 US, while second will get a $3,000 prize. So there is a subtle difference there. Do you think Leviathan should consider grabbing up the gyrocopter, something that was neglected a bit in Game 1 and then finally showed up as a response for Cloud9 against the Storm Spirit? Do you think it's something Leviathan should be able to harness themselves? This comes now after the Earthshaker grab from Cloud9, and maybe because of that pick alone has prompted Leviathan to commit for a Rubik.
I would say that you want something that can naturally respond to it a little bit better, maybe something that can manta off a silence, for example, or just to deal with the quick jump threat a little bit more actively. Obviously, the Gyrocopter has the ability to BKB. Oh, they're not even going to get the chance. Gyrocopter picked up for Cloud9, so even if they consider that as an option and were willing to use BKB more liberally in this kind of a game, they are not going to get that chance. That is actually going to be Ritsu on the Gyrocopter again. We saw him use some really good Helm of the Dominator play, so it seems understandable why they want to do that. And man, I'm actually really afraid for Leviathan no matter what they pick now.
This is a very disgusting 4-man spread already from Cloud9. Seems like they have a pretty good coverage of the map from all fronts. Oh, well, that's what you could do. It's time to, you know, take that team out of what they feel is a very comfortable draft and put them in a very uncomfortable, like, team composition. Going against the Techies now, that introduces some new problems. Oh, I have not seen Leviathan pull out a Techies so far ever, at least to be honest, from my perspective. This will be the first Techies that they are grabbing.
Yeah, this is absolutely insane. This is a really good call. This is going to help them a ton in the laning phase, really ramp up their aggression. It's going to do a lot more than just what a Bounty Hunter would. Like, Bounty Hunter Tusk, really strong, gives momentum, you mess with the lanes, the supports don't get as much farm. But with Techies, you take all the farm away from the enemy supports. They're going to be buying sentries and dust, or mostly just sentries, non-stop. And along with that, you have a bunch of heroes that are immobile prior to level 6. You have a bunch of low armor opponents. Like, they can really just gun down so many easy targets. If it's MSS on the Earthshaker in the off lane, they really have to find a support to couple in the safe lane that can tank through this Techie's threat and outmaneuver him, because otherwise, yeah, you're going to be eating snowball suicides and snowball mines all day long.
Is it worth them to commit? Like, can they still grab something like a Queen of Pain and change up the lanes a bit? And put
no, I thought about that too, but, I mean, look, you have to, like, if you look at the ability for them to aggro try with a gyrocopter silencer +1, it just seems really impractical. Like, I really want to say they can just grab a Queen of Pain, throw her on the safe lane, blink back every time there's a snowball, but honestly, I think that they're really too set with their core heroes, and they're just gonna have to play around it.
We'll have to see. I like the ban. Night Stalker is something they pulled out in the last game and could help them get that gem ags, and then you have a way to be a minesweeper. Like, I'm one, you know, me as KotLGuy. KotL seems to be my top pick when I go against the Techies, because I'll try to flash farm very fast and ags, get a gem, and then Techies is gonna have a bit of a difficult time maintaining a good home base with these mines. But we'll have to see what Cloud9 want to do to respond to this. And like you said, someone who could soak up the damage. I could see for one or the other. I don't know people who could soak up the damage and be able to be mobile. Like, oh, an Ogre could be a nice sturdy support who could plant himself in the lane and kind of take a beating and you know, keep on fighting, but he's not certainly going to be mobile enough to avoid any sort of snowball pressure. So you're left with few options, and probably part of the reason Cloud9 might start sweating this clock a bit. Definitely a duo pickup that caught them off guard. I'm sure it definitely caught us off guard. Just as something that Leviathan have never ran, and it wasn't until the final game of the grand final that they are going to decide to pull out here and now. And it looks like the response from Cloud9 will be the MSS Darkseer.
I actually think they are going to aggro try here. I think they're going to run Gyrocopter, Earthshaker, Silencer in the bottom lane. Darkseer will be taking the safe lane, and Stormspirit will be mid. And this is actually one of my own other pub counters. When you can't blink away as a Queen of Pain and completely nullify the damage, Darkseer, whether he surges and gets closer to his tower, or just straight up grits his teeth and tanks through it. This guy has an amazing amount of natural armor. I think it's 6 or more, a good amount of base strength. This guy, if anybody, can survive through the initial burst of the Tusk Techies. So he'll probably go like what I've done on Darkseer is actually a Ring of Protection opener on Darkseer against this matchup, and you do have the HP to survive until they start out leveling you.
Now it will be the Francis pickup here. And you go more into the late game knowing you have someone like a Techies who creates space.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can't get better late game than that. Spectre is going to be the grab up here, something that Cloud9 and Ritsu in particular are very familiar with. And that is going to be your final draft for the final game of BTS Americas 2. And I had to tell you, up to that point of Techies, I was going to get ready to go all in for Cloud9 and what they were going to sport. But now, I don't know. Leviathan, it's how well they're going to be able to exercise this kind of a lineup, but if it could succeed, it could prove to be pretty damn problematic for the C9 squad. This is going to be one very interesting Game 5. I'm actually really looking forward to it here and seeing who's even going to be playing this. And it looks like Zebra, their captain and drafter, is going to be taking a hold of the Techies.
Yeah, just going to be the master strategist as well as going to be laying the traps. But yeah, this is going to be a really interesting laning phase, and it's going to turn into a hell of a way to finish off this series, which has already been one of my favorites of all time. But yeah, the Spectre late game, obviously, by putting up mines on the defense, and that means that the harder the carry, the better. And Spectre is probably the hardest carry you can afford to go in this metagame. Buying up lots of regen here. 2 tangos as salve as well as the Ring of Protection. This guy expects to be under some pretty heavy fire on the offlane.
So let's do it, folks. We're hopping in. It's Game 5 hype right now for BTS Americas 2. which team will be walking away with $5,000, and which team will take the $3,000 second place prize. It looks like early TP in. Darkseer will drop down a pretty deep and aggressive ward here. Flying Zebra, quick to the bottom lane, and it looks like he's going to make up shop here in that side shop. So knowing he's probably going to be put up in what could possibly be either the Darkseer matchup or that tri-lane setup, I'm sure he's waiting. He would hope if it's the aggro setup, they're more likely to move into that mind trap then and there. If it's the Darkseer alone, it might be a bit trickier.
This is a ton of mind games right now. You don't, normally speaking, Tusk Techies opens with Suicide. It doesn't have to, but it most commonly does. So they're not going to be looking for these mines in this kind of position. They're also most likely sending this tri-lane bottom, but what they did, the mind games from Cloud9, is they had MSS drop the ward anyways. So he went all the way bottom with the ward, drops it down so that in case he does get scouted, it still looks like Darkseer is their offlaner. But here we are. C and Brax going to be going for the bounty rune. Shibby really seems to want this one, but that doesn't look like he's going to be able to get it. So it's going to be Tusk that gets the top bounty rune, and Jenkins going to get that start.
All right, he'll take it.
Okay.
Yeah, just kind of glances over it for now, and we'll protect it out for Shibby, who is going to be en route, but he has no one to block out his mid lane, but not of the C9, so it looks like it will tend to break even with maybe a slight nod towards Brax as he's able to get to the block a bit sooner. But we'll have to see. One of the tricky things as a cameraman with a Techies game is when the moment will strike where they actually happen to just kind of go off the beaten path here and walk across a couple of early explosives. SVG will dish out the early fissure block for their aggro lane, and this creep wave will already get right in favor of C9. And they're curious to see who their opponent's going to be. Francis is here, but he has to wait way far back. And he's already not very comfortable with the laning setup that's been brought before him.
Yeah, I do believe this mine trap is going to work pretty well. I think that's going to be when the Gyrocopter goes for his Basilius or his boots, and that's going to be the timing where he just gets absolutely picked off. So that's a great to get a first blood against a carry, of course, and I think it's really much going to happen. Like, there's very rare situations where Ritsu's not going to go to the side shop through that route.
Zebra does go to the top lane eventually, still making even a new little mine spot as he tries to soak XP and get to that level 2 and get a hold of Suicide. We'll have to wait a bit. And SVG is like, I will be the minesweeper. I'm looking around for mines. Where are they? Oh, he got him. And he takes a big shot. But there's going to be no follow-up, and he'll be able to easily salve up. And look at Francis. He is caught in a bit of an awkward pickle here. With no more Dacker, he has nowhere to go, and they're easily just going to sweep over for him. And this is going to lead to your first blood for Cloud9, a takedown of the Spectre.
Wow, the fact that did not kill the Earthshaker really hurts. Obviously, he has a lot of HP to work with. They do 127 each when he only has 2 armor, but he had enough HP. He lives with 60 HP at the end of it, and that's just, insufficient. So they set the trap, but although it was sprung, it turns out to be first blood for Gyrocopter, which is the exact opposite of what they were going for. They're just, obviously, 3 mines, generally enough to kill the heroes you're looking for, but Earthshaker's not one of them.
They're trying to change things up, it looks like. Blaze already. Francis is going towards this top lane to find farm there, and they're going to have to shift their attention elsewhere, and already C9 are kind of onto it. They get wind that this Rubik is probably out of zone, so they immediately go for a dive once the creeps are by the tower, and it looks like they will be rewarded with a kill. Ritsu has to double back for the last auto attack, but already this Gyrocopter off to a 2-0 start. This is turning into quite a disaster for Leviathan in the bottom lane. They might need to quickly get on the snowball Suicide bandwagon if they want to get some kills back their way.
And the tower is just going to get destroyed. They can even go ahead and just block the creeps, just go past them and keep pushing. Bastion going to do some amazing work. And I think I forgot to mention it, but the 127 means he took half damage from the mine. So it was him, the fact that he was running away but still triggered them, he only got kind of half the blow that he should have, which otherwise obviously would have killed him. So now they're going to go for the snowball. Pretty heavy dive, but it looks like they'll get it thanks to the ice shards.
Yep, there's the block. Brax will have to turn back and around, which will go right to the lift, set up with the Dragon Slave, and Leviathan will get themselves on the board with a successful pick onto Brax and a Storm Spirit. Very nice one there for Leviathan, but as we were talking about before, that means that Cloud9 are easily going to be able to sweep in. There is just no one to be seen from Leviathan in this bottom lane. C9 have completely taken over, and it looks like they will be able to siege a very early Tier 1 very soon. And for Francis, he heads up to this top lane and goes into a one-on-one matchup with a Darkseer who is very big. Outnumbered him. Mid lane, there it is. Suicide bomb in mine, and Brax dies again. That's back-to-back takedowns of your Storm. And a canceled out TP even from Theben. Top lane, it looks like the commit. We catch the back end of that, and Francis is going to get dropped from MSS. I was just getting ready to go into how his opponent is already just grossly out-leveled him in this Darkseer. Look away one moment, and MSS will pounce the second he sees action break out in the mid lane.
Yeah, and I mean, they haven't really taken advantage of the mines yet. Like, those haven't blown up, of course, but it's still, Cloud9 are really making some good things happen. Some unpredictable stuff is setting the Storm back, but he's in a position to bounce back, I would say. He can still come back in the jungle. He can still find gank opportunities with his allies. I still think overall, the fact that bottom lane has won so hard, and of course Spectre just died, that it's going to be Team Leviathan that are going to be having issues.
So now with a tier 1 already down for Cloud9 at the bottom, what do these guys do in the bottom lane now that their job has already been done, pushing it in, securing a spot for Ritsu to farm, and they take a tier 1? Do they just bother heading elsewhere, or just continue to accompany him, step off and farm? It looks like Theben will just, you know, get his own worth here in the mid lane, as Shibby could sweep in from the northern side. It just looks like they don't need to kind of have as much attention at the bottom lane. It's very apparent Ritsu's going to be able to do as he pleases.
Yeah, I mean, they maybe one bodyguard doesn't hurt, but otherwise the Silencer should look to get kind of independent experience. So yeah, leeching a little bit from mid, and well, Jenkins going right in.
There it is, roll on forward to Brax again. This could be 3 straight takedowns, but this time the shards will not hit the money mark, and he'll be able to walk away from the trap. Gets off a nice curse here onto the 2 of them, so they eat quite a bit of damage and lose a little bit of mana. It looks like Jenkins will be able to salve up afterward. So
Mo coming for techies. Is he going to go for the Roche Pit or maybe a Rune Spawn? It's hard because obviously the Dire Observer Ward would scout it out if he places it in a predictable spot, but if he just goes like up here or into the Roche area or even on the lane, no, he walks over the smoke. This is too dangerous. He's probably going to die.
He's got no boots. He's just, oh god, I got to take my cart and I got to go somewhere. Oh no, right into a rocket barrage. Boom. See you later, you little neckbeard. Techies is going to be taken care of, and Cloud9 will push ahead 4-2. Sorry, that's what I always say to Techies pickers in my pub. It's a bad habit, but nonetheless, so far, Techies pick not really working out here for Leviathan, unfortunately. It seemed like a clever, you know, grab mid-draft to kind of counteract already the assertive start from Cloud9, but it's just not really as juicy of a berry as they were hoping for.
Yeah, I mean, turns out gunpowder ignites. You throw rockets at him, and he's just gonna explode. And now he's having a really hard time becoming relevant. His mines aren't leveling up, so he's gonna have to go for 4 stacks of mines instead of 3. He's still gonna be struggling, and he obviously failed on the smoke, which smoke mining generally gets you 1 guaranteed kill in a normal game, but in that case, it breaks underneath the worst possible situation, and you feed the gyrocopter another kill.
But this is just a very uncharacteristic farming game for Francis. You look at him now, and he's only 11 in 1 CS, and he continues to hide out in trees just to hope for little breadcrumbs of XP. And he looks across, and he sees a very big and bad Ritsu, who's near level 7 to his comparison, a level 4 Spectre. Just a very uncomfortable spot, and he just needs to hope there's going to be a period where C9 can neglect the side lane, or they can maybe come up with a couple of sweet picks here, taking advantage of any sort of micro rubber band with the net worth boost that Cloud9 do have now. They do move in with a dagger. Shibby trying to get a hold, has that Laguna. There's going to be the lift into the connecting combo, and they will take out Ritsu, but look who shows up. Brax is back, and now level 6, jumps towards the bottom, gets 1 kill, but everyone else will retreat out. Meanwhile, Techies looks like commits a suicide in the mid lane, but will not lead to a kill. SVG will live on, and will step back.
And I'm not sure if we're looking at the full experience of the Techies, if this is something they've practiced a lot. It's obviously something that everybody has to kind of have in their arsenal, but it just, I mean, they weren't able to do enough. And I'm kind of trying to, I'll look at the combat log a little bit more, because he just did 725 damage. It feels like that's fatal damage to somebody, but it's just creeps. It's just creeps that he does the damage to. The Earthshaker takes 200 damage. He took half damage again. This is really frustrating for Techies, I think.
Now, C9 right in front of mine. It'll pop, and Zebra's like, crap! Again! Same spot! Instantly dead right on top of the little staircase. Techies put in his place. 1 in 4 now. Theben will be able to move forward and gets a nice, deep, aggressive ward after that kill follow-up. This is looking like a pretty decisive early laning phase again here, Blaze, for Cloud9. Definitely feels like they've kind of turned up their performance quite a bit since that 3rd game. really going on all cylinders. Early steal is just going to be the ion shell here from Newsham, but they'll decide to step back.
And he can't really use that to farm against the Spectre unless he's confident that Francis will be lasting against it, or won't be lasting against it. So it's kind of frustrating for him. And we just see Cloud9 just perfectly happy to stock up this area. If Shibby goes to farm this, he's dead. If he goes back to the lane, he's in some trouble. So we'll see Jenkins collaborating. They'll go for the play, but immediate response as that was under a ward.
Oh God, MSS is first on the scene, but more troubles coming in from behind. This is not going to be good for him. They do get the Laguna kill on the MSS, but Jenkins about to go down. There it is. Thiemon will get the last hit with his last word, and now Shibby will be going down, making it a 2-for-1 trade. MSS happy to hand over his life for big pickups and big gains like that one for Cloud9. And now they move the truck into this mid lane. Cloud9 just continue to get the better of all these trades. And now even Brax gets some time to farm up on the bottom. This has been the one opportunity, though, for Francis. Top lane. He'll start farming up as much as possible, and he's level 6 now with Haunt. No mana to use it, but he is just trying to get back on the right track. And he's still got a long ways to go, and Jenkins, who will get caught out from a snowball in, quickly get fissured and rocket barraged.
Yeah, 1437 has 14 stacks of stolen intelligence here. He's been involved in 7 of the 9 kills, and he is just making everybody stupid. He's just snatching all the int, and now they're not going to be able to really fight against the silencer. He can actually start skilling glaives and just do so much damage, even as a like 5-position support. Also look at itemization. We have Tranquil Boots on Silencer, Tranquil Boots on Earthshaker, a casual Ring of Protection, as I mentioned on the Darkseer, the Aquila on the Gyrocopter. Like, they have the wherewithal to survive through almost everything techies can throw at them, because he's only level 4. Like, this is just really smart itemization, great aggro tri-lane strat that, I mean, I briefed you on, but still, they executed with it very well. And then, yeah, like, now they're just spreading the map, controlling it, dominating, and preventing anybody from getting farm.
They rotated to bottom and tried to make it go there, and when they came up short because of Brax easily being able to ball lightning away, it looked like C9 wanted to converge onto Shibby, but Shibby already puts himself back into a defensive position. But C9 are not afraid to assert themselves here, make a go at maybe another tier 1. Or we step back and we pop this purple stuff, and we're going to move into the jungle and try to find another crafty pick here. We'll start with their favorite sweet spot up on top of this hill.
Yeah, oh my gosh, absolutely. I mean, they have so many wards in this area. They're using smoke after smoke. They're just, I mean, this is a kill farm, and they're going to be looking at Shibby as the next bit of food.
They put another nice.
Was that a radiant ping? Okay, Tusk did ping that out. I think they saw a glimpse of 1.37, but that's not a fight you want.
Yeah, don't come any closer. There's homing missiles here. Drop a call down. Ooh, 1437 will get bumped over from those shards, and they avoid any sort of additional confrontation here. So C9 have to feel like they might be the better ones in this fight. They do have to think about the Haunt being online, at least for now. Francis, very committed to that top lane farm, was able to throw together at least his power treads here and get to level 7 near 8. But we'll have a long road to go if they're trying to bank on this Spectre to kind of get them back in it.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, he's not going to go for dispersion build, so he is a little bit squished here, but he does have some more potential in the fights. That dagger build has been seen a lot more in China than anything, but it can net some really good kills. When you max that dagger, you get some good damage, you get more potential to disengage, of course, and yeah, he really wants to use this next Haunt to success.
Bottom lane, though, they're creeping in. Early dagger trade between him and Brax. Brax is like, I'm just going to get some free damage on this tier 2 if no one's going to stop me. I have SVG as my bodyguard. And Leviathan are looking for their own trade mid tier 1. Briefly saved from the glyph, but should be cleaned up.
And 1437, you look at his health, he actually just triggered those mines that replaced the second volley from Flying Zebra, and the Tranquil Boot saves his life. So still the techies has only found 1 kill. And that was a long time ago.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Those green shoes doing some work here, and that's your technically weakest member of Cloud9 as far as hero being able to stand up to mines, and if he's able to kind of walk through them without much problem, then your techies might not be in for the best game right now. In fact, we'd look over at Flying Zebra, who's still not even level 6. Remote mines could help out a bit, but he is trying to do something a bit unorthodox here. Puts the mines lower from the hill above, maybe where a common sentry could be, and just trying to see if maybe he can catch someone from C9 and out of position. But they're just already taking over. They're inside Leviathan's woods now, taking all that farm away. And just kind of continuing to swell up more and more. Already at 7,500 net worth advantage. XP is about the same.
Yeah, and these observer wards are also scouting out the techies' movement. So while they don't see the exact position of those mines, they know that's kind of a danger zone. They're circling it. They say techies was somewhere around there, and keep it in mind. So right now they know where they can and cannot go. They're not feeding to techies at all to give him momentum. He doesn't have the option of remote mining under the towers at this point, and you know, Gyrocopter's having the game of his life.
Yeah, for not getting to see much Ritsu Gyrocopter play, at least outside of league play, he's certainly put on quite the show here. For game 2, he continues to be the big breadwinner here, 6.5 of net worth. Home with a Dominator already in hand, and we know how much use he's going to be putting into that one. Ancient Camp already has what looks like 2 to 3 stacks, but they look like they're not going to turn around until they at least walk away with this tier 1. Leviathan, don't think they're going to do much to stop him. Tier 1 will be going down here. Cloud9 will turn back and around. Leviathan going for a bit of their own trade here. Shibby begins work on the tier 1 top. How soon before Cloud9 may be in a better position to sweep up something like a Roche, or they're just comfortable, they'll farm the majority of the map and eventually just kind of swallow up Leviathan?
Yeah, I think they get even more pressure by not going Roche right now and just focusing on the enemy's territory. If you take their jungle away, there's no way the Lina can come back in a real fashion. She has her Yules, but that's about it. And then they're also keeping vision advantage over the techie. So when it's really convenient, they'll still be able to go for Roche, and there's probably nothing stopping them. But Haunt's gonna scout things out. Will Spectre make her move? Yeah, top.
Top lane for MSS here under the tower. Nusham's nearby, but he's eating
TPs.
so much damage from the Ion Shell, and all the TPs come out, and Francis has nowhere to go. He goes down. Now the Global and C9 are going to look to sweep through with the biggest fight so far. They're going to be taking out Shibby, and Nusham is barely able to make it away. 4-11. Big double takedown for Cloud9.
That's the Hand of Midas for the Silencer. All the while, Ritsu taking the full stack here for the Dire side, so cleaning up and getting gigantic net worth. Suddenly he's at 8,000. Like, he just farmed up another 1,500 after us praising how much he had achieved already. So really just racking it up. And I mean, the Silencer has 16 intelligence. Really would like to see more glaives from 1437. I think that's the only thing I would complain about for Cloud9.
Yeah, no glaives at all. Just going totally Q&E, which I guess is just that kind of poking Silencer from the outside, not looking to invest too much into the right click and preserving the mana just in case. But
I'm over here.
It is what it is. We'll wait it out without that little bit of extra pure damage. Take out that tier 1 top, and now all of those base towers have been removed here. Cloud9 continue to swell up, and Ritsu doing a little bit of that EG Fear method. Will just make home with these Ancients. Continue to get bigger and bigger. Ogre Club already done after the drums. Starting to swell up quite a bit, and we'll have BKB very soon. If that's what he decides to go for. I mean, who knows? Is it really SNY something he could consider? But hold on to the thought. SVG does get caught out. Good Yules, Lina combo. Leads to the Laguna. Leads to a pick.
Embrax isn't afraid at all, it seems, but he is going to be caught out a little. Going to go over the trees and be fine. But yeah, I mean, the BKB is still good, really good, because you're worried about the Yules combo. So you can always, as soon as you get hit by the Yules, pop the BKB, you'll be fine. And I mean, I guess you might be worried about your own spells if the Rubik gets some good steals off there.
You didn't have enough time to build something here. They're like, what are you doing in there? Please don't do this to me. He gets killed. They drop a sentry. They'll see the remotes. They'll rid of them. And all of Flying Zebra's efforts.
He's like halfway through building a treehouse, and he's like, it's not ready.
No, please.
Go away. Come back later.
Oh, it's not happening, though. C9 not looking to give Leviathan any sort of room to feel comfortable. Maybe an occasional pick, but they are in firm control at this point. And you're starting to see pretty ineffective Tusk. Our rolling Suicide Techies bombs don't seem to be much of a threat anymore. Shibby's trying to kind of just make pace here as he looks to close out an Agnum Scepter. We look over to Francis, who really needs to be now the dark horse for this team as the game does go on, but he has still got a ways off. I don't imagine this is going to be your Radiance Spectre buildup, stepping off for what looks like the components of a possible drum. And what do you have to do from thereafter? Or is Radiant something he still needs to do, Blaze? Like, a Spectre who's fallen behind the laning phase?
Nah, he'll go for just something, anything to get him off the ground. Drums of Endurance for now, so just some stats, maybe a Sange and Yasha or a Manta after that. Diffusal one I mentioned is not bad, but he probably isn't even tanky enough to support it. So I would expect Drums Manta, but it's no matter what, you're in a bad way. There's no one item that'll get you back in this game. There's probably not even two at this point.
Cloud9 are going to be able to secure a sweet little Aegis here. Leviathan are creeping in this top lane, but they decide to pull back. I don't know if they're kind of getting the idea that Rosh is being done. I'd imagine they'd have to know with everyone kind of missing in action here. It is taking C9 a little bit of sweat to bring down the big boy. Eventually they will get their prize token, and Leviathan are going to have to unfortunately see that sad message here. That Aegis had been taken away. But what does this allow for Cloud9 now at this point, Blaze? I don't imagine they're going to be using it to immediately, you know, push into the side of Leviathan. This kind of assures that they don't have to worry about Leviathan getting it for themselves. They can feel more comfortable about moving out, farming a bit, and then maybe by the back end of this Aegis clock, they can move across the river and see what they can get done towards those tier 2s.
Yeah, I'd probably say take 2 tier 2s at least with the Aegis. I mean, you might as well just group up a few heroes. You don't even have to bring 5 heroes. Like, the Silencer can keep farming this side of the map, and then you can just put 2 or 3 heroes behind the Gyrocopter with his Aegis, and that's fine. That's still a guaranteed tier 2 tower at this stage in the game, as long as you're scouting properly for remote mines.
So, majority of the farm continues to come the way of C9 as they even work through the Leviathan jungle. Top lane where they've been hanging out for quite a while here, at least between these three. It looks like they'll finally have to pull off. Brax will not have the vision to see a quick jump in. Jenkins, he will though. Hey, how's it going? You want to go somewhere? Not you though. They get a quick Vortex pullback. Prompts the haunt from Spectre. It looks like they're going for the bottom. Jenkins is going to stall out the snowball. SVG could be in a bit of trouble. Tries to go for the TP, and he will make it away. Last second. Jenkins, not so lucky. He does end up going down, but they don't get the return kill. But look at this. Little Silencer cut out position. And Spectre,
he's going to be saved.
He's going to be fine. Oh, and Francis, you got to know, is like, I'm so hungry for a kill. I have been punished this game. I had no good laning phase, nowhere to farm. Now all I want is a sweet little support pick, and he can't get either of them. Oh, that's got to be heartbreaking. Really. Yeah. So for Leviathan, they unfortunately will be coming up short and then hand over another pick to the side of C9. Desperate to grasp onto anything to get them back into this game. Just does not seem like the Cloud9 boys are going to be giving anything away so easily.
So, I mean, Gyrocopter are going to be flanked to gank, but he's got heroes behind him. The Radiant do not see these heroes. They're going to go on the Gyro, and they're probably going to die.
Let's get that Gyro. They move in. They got the Laguna and everything, but there's the global vacuum wall from MSS. And he's like, what the hell did you think you were doing? Now Shibby's going to be the third target, and he will go down. That was just quick destruction right there. They thought they were going to get the easy creep play onto Gyro, but MSS, the pointy-headed one, knows what's up. Top lane, Jenkins could be in a bit of trouble again as Brax pursues, gets the pullback. Looks like Francis wants to come in and help out, leads in with a dagger. But now he could be the one in trouble. Brax still moving in with the back end of his mana, even committing inside the base. He is so thirsty for this kill. It somehow still has the mana to make it back outside.
He had a regen rune up, but it's gone now, unfortunately. So he bounced around. He got some damage, and that's time the Spectre has to spin in the fountain instead of defending the bottom lane. This might just be Brax.
Tier 3 starts going down here. Most of Leviathan still here. Looking to move in. Techies obviously did not really have the time to make any sort of scary setup. 2 minutes left on this Aegis. Plenty of time for Cloud9 to do work here. Brax just trying to draw attention away in this top lane. Happy to trade out with Francis.
The Rubik did steal call down, so I think that gives a little bit more pause for concern for the Dire, and I think that Cloud9 are more likely to just kind of rotate around to the mid lane instead.
Cloud9 first pull off from this bottom lane. Lucian will use the call down defensively to stop the push. Flying Zebra's taking this time to try to get some remote mines down. Do C9 have detection down here just in case? Oh, 3 sentries on the hand here for 1437, so they certainly do. Okay, nice little block off on the MSS. Snowball forward leads to
Echo
the
Slam.
Walrus Punch, and Echo Slam comes in from SVG, and they are going to rain on the parade of Leviathan. Just when they think they have an opportunity to get that solo pick on the MSS, Leviathan, or Cloud9 rather, take back 3 of their own. And now we're ready to go into high ground here. Theban will need to drop a sentry. He will. They'll see the little remote mine, start taking care of him. And what a nice catch from SVG. Leaves in the fissure. A blink in. Newsham has cursed now. One more bop should do it. They got it. 1437 will pick up that kill. This tier 3 seems to be going down, and this grand final might be coming to a close, Blaze. Pretty damn fast.
After 85 and 60-minute long games, we see here a 24 minutes, a rough run, really good show coming in from Leviathan Dota as well as Cloud9, but that's gonna wrap it up.
Woo! Been a long day, but our day is finally done, and we have your new BTS America Grand Champion. It is going to be Team Cloud9, who will walk away with 5,000 big ones. Cannot say enough props, though, to Team Leviathan. They will take away $3,000. They definitely have turned some heads with their very impressive BTS America's run, and definitely gave Cloud9 a run for their money. So I'm very curious to see how they're going to take this as a lesson to maybe even progress further and just make that North America Dota scene thrive that much harder. Blaze, as the game does come to a close, any last thoughts?
Overall, shout out to Team Leviathan, just persevering through adversity and really showing us some new styles of play. What they brought to the last few series, and about half of this one, was just inspiring as far as what they could accomplish in the game, the way they can move, the way they can just come back from these really difficult situations. Really cool. Love seeing their new roster in play. Hopefully they continue to look to improve and fight it out. Cloud9, this roster is really a powerhouse. I'm looking forward to seeing them as they go up against, obviously the Titan in the NA scene is EG, and I want to see how they match up against them. And just across the board, I have some big expectations as they look for like the qualifiers for the majors, perhaps. But once again, thank you guys. Thank you for having me. Thanks viewers for tuning in, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the commentary. And yeah, this was awesome. This was a great tournament, and it was great to see these teams in action.
Please show your love to Blaze. Check him out on his Twitter at BlazeCasting. Blaze, can't thank you enough for joining me for the majority of this back end of BTS Americas. Got to give shout-outs, of course, to Fluff and everyone else who joined me along the trip. KotLGuy again for Beyond the Summit. I was happy to run the whole show, production, VODs, the whole kit and caboodle. I know there were a lot of technical hiccups along the way, but I am very happy to put another BTS Americas in the books and look forward to our next adventure on Forward. So with that, we'll wrap things up. For any action you missed, you can catch all the VODs on the Beyond the Summit YouTube channel. Got to give, of course, quick shout-outs to Face It Pro League and Vulcan for sponsoring and help supporting these kind of events. In fact, I'll be finishing out this series with a mini drafting session on the Vulcan website when we do close out here, so you're welcome to stick around and check it out for yourself. But other than that, we're all done. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your Dota. Enjoy your life. And Ice Frog, can you please make 6.85 come out sooner? Ladies and gentlemen, take care. Enjoy the rest of your night.